This News Talk 1010 podcast is brought to you by PocketEmploymentLawyer.ca. Wrongfully dismissed, changes made to your job, lowballed on severance? Find out if you have a case before you call a lawyer. Go to PocketEmploymentLawyer.ca.
People living in nursing homes and care homes are especially in danger of becoming the victims of elder abuse and neglect. We've heard all kinds of stories about this. Often the residents have physical disabilities or medical conditions that make them reliant on nurses and staff members to provide day-to-day care. Well, when the standard of care at these facilities drops below acceptable levels, residents are at risk of suffering serious injury as a result, and it's not always easy to notice signs of abuse or neglect, but the people who are there are relying on you to ensure they receive proper professional care. How do you go about making sure this is happening? Joining us to talk about this is our friend Jasmine Daya, managing lawyer at Jasmine Daya & Co. and Nursing Home Negligence Lawyers. Hi, Jasmine. Thanks for doing this.
Hi, Barb. Thanks for inviting me.
This is such a disturbing topic because it's so hard for families to make the step of placing a loved one in this kind of care, and then the thought that they might be being mistreated is just really difficult.
That's right. The entire situation is so sad, and it's for that reason that a few years ago I made a conscious decision to take on more of these claims and to assist in the best way I could to provide not only compensation but sort of peace of mind to the people that I represent. And as I said, that's why I've started taking on more of these cases. There's a lot of lawyers that don't want to take them on because they're difficult and because the cost-benefit doesn't always make sense. But I just said, forget about cost-benefit. I need to do what's right.
I think, and I've known people who have been in this situation to feel like maybe a loved one is being mistreated at a nursing home or a care facility. And I've never heard any of them think to contact a lawyer. I think they always feel like they're alone and they have to sort of figure it out on their own. What is it that they can do or should do?
Well, first of all, you're right to say that, a lot of people, not only do they not know what to do, but they don't always want to come forward. And in particular, older people, there's 1.5 million older people living in Ontario. And according to the Ontario Human Rights Commission, 4% are suffering from elder abuse. And it is believed that the 4% figure is actually quite low due to underreporting. So there's probably a lot more people that are abused. The people that are suffering from the abuse, so the older person, oftentimes can be embarrassed to come forward. And there's also a concern that if they come forward and report the person who's providing care, then where do they stand? Who's going to provide the care? So, in those types of situations, if there is abuse suspected, obviously you want to talk to the nursing home or it's technically called the long-term care home. So you want to talk to them, get them involved, and you also want to file a complaint with the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care. They will do a full investigation and determine if there's any violations. And you can certainly contact a personal injury lawyer also.
If people suspect that there might be some mistreatment or abuse going on, but they don't know how to confirm it, and perhaps their loved one either can't tell them or isn't telling them, what are some of the things they should look for?
There's all sorts of things. So first, let's talk about what is elder abuse. So Health Canada defines elder abuse as the physical, psychosocial, or financial mistreatment of a senior. So we know the physical, we've heard a lot about the financial mistreatment, we can understand what that is, but from a psychosocial perspective, what is that? So that includes verbal abuse, social isolation, failure to provide affection, and denial to make decisions. When we look at what are the common signs, how do you know that this is happening? Telltale signs would be, for example, bed sores or other untreated cuts, bruises, or minor injuries, damage to clothing or personal items, weight loss or malnutrition, poor personal hygiene or unsanitary living conditions, lack of proper heating and cooling. These seem so obvious, and it's so sad that we even have to talk about this, that we even see this. And I have examples which I can share with you that may assist people, in hearing what type of cases we're dealing with.
Sure. I've got about a minute left. So if you could go through a couple, that'd be great.
Okay, so I have a client. So I had a client. I've settled her claim, but she was in her 80s, nonverbal, wasn't walking, had mysteriously this bruise in her inner leg, and it was found that she had a fracture. Now, in her leg, how does someone who is not able to walk have a fracture? I've had another client who wasn't able to walk without a walker. She needed assistance, and she's fallen twice. The last time resulted in a fracture. She required surgery, and when the family said, "Why did you leave her to walk, and why was she unattended?" they said, "Well, we wanted to see, how far she could go." Those types of things should not be happening.
What's the website where people can get more information?
Well, certainly on my website, which is www.jdlawyers.ca. But also, if you go to the ministry's website, the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care, there's a lot of information there also.
Okay, and you are jdlawyers.ca.
That's right.
Jasmine Daya, thanks so much for this.
Thank you.
Always great to have her on, managing lawyer at Jasmine Daya & Co.
This News Talk 1010 podcast was brought to you by PocketEmploymentLawyer.ca. Wrongfully dismissed, changes made to your job, lowballed on severance? Find out if you have a case before you call a lawyer. Go to PocketEmploymentLawyer.ca.